Come on in to Bricktown Brewery here at 71st Street, just east of Woodland Hills Mall. And with us now is their general manager, who's joined us here, Earl Collins here. And I'll tell you, it's an exciting place here. A lot of activity, people coming in for the great craft beers, the great specialty items. And I know there's a lot of secret stuff going on here. What's coming up this month of July and into August?
So at the end of the month, first week of August, we're going to have 3 secret items that are going to be released. They're all food items.
Oh, nice.
And then the 13th of this month, we're releasing our Wiley's Blood Orange Ale. It's an American style ale, and we'll have it on tap from July all the way through August.
Bricktown Brewery has really, really grown. I think 22 restaurants, right?
Yes, 22 restaurants, yep.
How many states?
We're in 6 states now.
And 14 restaurants over here in Oklahoma.
Yes, yeah, 14 in Oklahoma.
I know we have one at Remington Park Racetrack. They're one of our good sponsors looking for Remington Park Thoroughbred season starting next month here. But I've always been impressed with Bricktown, the quality of the food, but also the atmosphere. Great staff too.
Oh yeah, the staff's awesome. We are able to keep a really good staff here too.
Our people, I guess, love the restaurant. One of the featured appetizers, they call it the trio, right?
Yes, so that's our dipping trio. It's going to have salsa, guacamole, and queso, and all of it's made fresh in-house.
Queso's fantastic. My old co-host, Gil Cloud, he'd go through 3 or 4 of those. And Gil loved the queso here in Bricktown.
Yeah.
What are some of the favorite items here that people like when they come into Bricktown?
So another big item is going to be Big Mike's meatloaf. We have a secret ingredient in that one as well.
Okay,
we got a lot of secrets, but it's a huge hit. Again, it's made in-house. We make it from scratch, nothing frozen or from a package.
Well, we're glad to have you with us here at Oklahoma Sportscene. We're alternating between the 2 restaurants. Next week we'll be down at Brookside.
Yep.
The one on Peoria then. We'll be back here the week after that too. Yep. So, well, thank you so much for having us. You're a great hostess, and your staff's doing a great job for us here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Stay right with us here. We're going to talk about what's coming up here on Oklahoma Sportscene. Our headline, guests will be including FC Tulsa win streak. Michael Nelson, their goalkeeper, will be here to talk about FC Tulsa. We'll also be talking about the Oilers Indoor Football League, finishing out their final game of the season this weekend. And Luke Hamilton, their voice, will be here to give us a preview. A lot of big events coming up for the Oilers this weekend. Then Don King, the biographer of the late Allan Trimble, the legendary football coach at Jenks High School, will be here with a book about Allan Trimble and talk about his national award he just received. And Charlie Brown, another legend in the area here, Holland Hall football coach, athletic director, and a real special person in this community. Charlie Brown with us, and we'll get a little more on the national story about name, image, likeness, NIL, the 2 guys that are working through it right now. The athletic director of the University of Oklahoma, Joe Castiglione, and the athletic director of the University of Tulsa, Rick Dixon. They'll be joining us for that. Now let's check this week's Tulsa World's Hot Topics. Big 12 Football Media Days this week down in Arlington, Texas, AT&T Stadium again. Brigham Young, Cincinnati, Houston, Central Florida. Bring a total of 14 teams to the Big 12. It'll mark the last Big 12 Media Days, of course, for Oklahoma and Texas. They head off to the Southeast Conference next year. We'll have a special guest on next week's show that'll wrap up Media Days down in Arlington, Texas. Big 12 preseason football poll was released last week. Just the 4th time in the last 13 years, Oklahoma is not the preseason media choice to win the conference title. OU, which has won 6 of the last 8 Big 12 championships, was picked to finish 3rd this year. Of the 14 teams, Sooners received 4 first-place votes, total 758 points. Texas, which last won the conference title way back in 2009, was picked to win the league, always the underachieving Texas Longhorns. They got 41 first-place votes, though, 886 total points. Kansas State was pretty close, though, reigning Big 12 champions. They were picked to finish 2nd, 14 first-place votes, 858 points. Texas Tech, 4 first-place votes. TCU rounded out the top 5. The rest of the poll included Baylor, followed by Oklahoma State at number 7. The Cowboys got 1 first-place vote, 470 points, and UCF. Kansas picked 9th, Iowa State 10th. Then the new league schools, BYU 11th, Houston 12th, Cincinnati 13th, West Virginia 14th. Big 12 also released its preseason football team. Kansas quarterback led the way. The Jayhawks quarterback Jalen Daniels picked as the offensive player of the year. And the offensive newcomer of the year, Fashawn Ward, named the newcomer, the running back from Kansas State. Oklahoma State had 3 on the preseason list. Amazing, Oklahoma had 1 player selected, Ethan Downs, only OU player on defense, no offensive players for the Sooners. The Cowboys picks included our former Bixby High School star, Brennan Presley, OSU linebacker, Colin Oliver, and their defensive back, Kendall Daniels. One thing about the 3 for Oklahoma State and the 1 for OU, all are Oklahoma high school products. Tulsa Drillers have begun out to a shaky start in the second half of the season. Came back home and won 4 of 6 in Wichita. They take the league break now until this weekend. Tulsa resumes play on Friday, a weekend series at Midland. Then they go on to Northwest Arkansas. Drillers are back home for the first time in July 25th, hosting the Springfield Cardinals. This game series, July 25th is when it starts. And Major League Baseball is on the All-Star break. The 93rd All-Star game was played earlier this week in Seattle, Washington. At the break, the leaders are Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Texas in the American League. The National League, it's the biggest lead so far, 8.5 games for the Atlanta Braves. The biggest surprise of the first half of the season, the Cincinnati Reds. They lead the Central Division. Biggest disappointment has to be the St. Louis Cardinals, last in the Central Division, 11.5 behind. And the Drillers Major League Club, the Los Angeles Dodgers, percentage points ahead of Arizona in the West. Coming up, FC Soccer. FC Tulsa is on a win streak, mainly because of their outstanding goalkeeper. He'll be with us, joining us on the set here, Michael Nelson, next on Oklahoma Sportscene here at Bricktown Brewery, 71st in Tulsa.
There are 3 things you need to know about Bricktown Brewery. We never stop obsessing over the quality of our fresh, made-from-scratch food. From pizza and burgers to salad and seafood, there's something for everyone. Our beer selection is second to none. Between handcrafted Bricktown beers and local craft favorites, you're sure to find one you'll love. We can't wait to serve you. Great food, local beer, and truly friendly service. Bricktown Brewery, we love what we do, and it shows.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank, we never forget it's your money.
Tulsa Oilers hockey at the BOK Center. The ultimate experience of hockey and entertainment. Save big on season tickets today. Full season tickets starting as low as $17 per month for all 36 home games. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
And we welcome you back inside the Bricktown Brewery at the 71st, just east of Woodland Hills Mall here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're celebrating FC Tulsa. Back-to-back victories here, and the guy that was a big part of that, our guest here on Oklahoma Sportscene, their goalkeeper, Michael Nelson. Michael, that was some kind of effort, not just by you, but that entire defense there against Indy this past week.
That's right. The defense was phenomenal. Scoring an early goal is always good, but usually with that, the other team has, in this case, 85 minutes to try to formulate a response. But yeah, the whole team in front of me, not just the back line, but the first line of defense are our attackers, and they did a phenomenal job making it difficult for them building out. And hopefully we can kind of build on that going forward, because that was a great performance by the entire team defensively. It
was a 1-0 victory for FC Tulsa over Indy 11, and an important one because where they were in the standings, and right now we've got a playoff spot.
That's right. Yeah, I was just talking with Nolan. Playing the teams around us in the standings are always huge. You can call them 6-point games at times. You're not only getting 3 for yourself, but taking 3 away from someone else close by you in the standings. And so, playing Indy was a huge win for us. Playing Detroit, that was a great win for us. Then we got Miami this Wednesday, and just hopefully keep clawing up the table and put ourselves in a great spot for playoffs.
Second consecutive victory for FC Tulsa, and the 4th clean sheet of the season, which I know that's a big part for you.
That's some clean sheets are sweeter than others, and this was a great one, but admittedly this was one that the entire team earned. Clean sheets are 100% a team statistic. I think sometimes keepers can get credit for them when it's really a defensive shift that the entire team put in, and so I think this one we all shared in it equally, and it was a great one.
I know this team's driven me crazy all year by it seemed like let the other team score first. Drives me nuts. Now this time against Indy, we got the goal first. That was a heck of a goal too.
Yeah, I mean, Moses was in a great spot and a clever finish, kind of sliding it under the keeper. But like you said, scoring first is definitely the better formula.
Made you feel better.
Yeah, we've unfortunately made a habit of coming from behind in a lot of games this year. But I think at the same time that does show some resilience within the group that we've gotten points out of those games. But yeah, scoring first is a much better feeling.
Moses Doyle had it was a kind of a strange thing there. The defender came up there and just misplayed the ball right on his foot. Finished it off.
Yeah, striker's instinct. You know, Moses, he's got a nose for goal and can read situations like that. And I think he gambled on the direction of the ball and that the defender might misplay it. And then as he did, he was alert to the opportunity and saw the keeper coming out and just slid it under him. And great goal for us. Like you said, getting the first goal early in the game on the road is a massive thing.
Michael Nelson, goalkeeper for the FC Tulsa team. Give us some of your background in soccer here.
So I grew up in the Houston, Texas area, playing youth soccer, played high school soccer. And
always a goalkeeper? Or?
Little of this, little of that. Probably went full-time goalkeeper around 13 or so. Okay. I wanted some glory playing up front, and then once my skill set started to dwindle in that, it was full-time goalkeeper for me. But yeah, and then went to school at Southern Methodist in Dallas, played for 4.5 years there, and then got drafted to Houston Dynamo, where I'd been for the last 5.5, 6 years or so, and then first season here.
Talk about Tulsa acquiring you. What do you think about coming to Tulsa?
I think it's a great opportunity. Speaking with Blair and the staff, I think they had a really clear vision for the style that they wanted to play, and it's a team with good ambitions, and the people within the team had spoken really highly of what was going on, and that players were treated well, and that there's a great locker room, and I think those are really important things. Obviously, on the field is a massive part of it, but when you've also got the off-the-field stuff being taken care of really well, I think that sets the players up for success. And so that was something that was attractive to me and a great opportunity.
We're just past now the halfway mark of the soccer season here. The team record right now, 18 games played, with 4 wins, 7 losses, 7 draws, taking all 3 points. That 1-0 win at Indy, that was a big one though. And Tulsa, 19 points, moves up to 8th place, and right now that is a playoff spot. But Michael, a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, you said it. I think we've got some good momentum going right now. We had a stretch kind of in the first third of the year where there were some games we felt we should have got more points from that we didn't. Yeah. But it is a long season, 30-plus games. There's going to be ebbs and flows, and so I think we've kind of come out of that more difficult portion, and we're feeling really good about the way we're playing right now and feel that we've got good momentum. And 2 wins back-to-back is kind of, we're getting to see the fruits of our labor a little bit more, and so we've got good momentum going right now.
I'll tell you, the fans are going to be excited to finally get you guys back home.
Yeah.
5 of the last 7 matches for FC Tulsa have been on the road. I mean on the road. They've been traveling coast to coast, it seems like, but now we've actually got 3 matches in a row all this week, right?
Yeah, massive. We got Miami on Wednesday, RGV on the weekend, and then Hartford following that, and so there's massive opportunities for us, and like you said, being home for those is a good feeling. I've been spending a lot of time in the air traveling around, but yeah, it's great to be at home in front of the fans and hopefully put on a show for them.
All these games will kick at 8 p.m. Wednesday the 12th, as our show first airs, Saturday the 15th, and then the 21st of the month, Friday night, Rio Grande Valley FC coming. Tell us about those teams, how you scout those out, and those chances for points for us.
Yeah, so Miami, we played the first game in the year at Miami, so we've got a pretty good idea of the style that they like to play and the dangerous players that they have. We haven't played Rio Grande or Hartford yet, but obviously they've put 17 or 18 games on tape at this point, so we kind of know the things that they like to do, but we're taking it one game at a time right now, and it's 100% of our focus on Miami, and know that we're going to have a battle ahead of us. But having them at home, we like our chances to put on a good performance, and we're just going to focus on what we can control and do that well.
Well, you got to get out and support FC Tulsa at One Oak Field. It's an incredible atmosphere. I think they're going to burn the place down. I've never seen so much smoke going everywhere and stuff, but those fans really get into it, don't they?
They do get into it, and there's no better feeling than scoring a goal at home. I wouldn't know personally, but I usually have a pretty good view of it. Fireworks going off, smoke bombs going off. The fans are fantastic, and it's an electric atmosphere for sure.
And of course, tell us about this quality of soccer. How would you compare this to some of the Major League Soccer?
I think the gap is not as big as some people might think. There's some really, really talented players, and I think especially in USL, there's talented young players that are working their way up too. And so, there's some really quality players, and I think it's a comparable product for sure. And I mean, you see it in the Open Cup. The MLS teams have their handful a lot of the time playing against these USL teams. And so I think there's really good talent in the league, and I think it's a league that's still ascending.
I imagine your college days with SMU and the American Athletic Conference, you probably faced the Tulsa soccer team. We're pretty proud of them up here, too.
That's right. I had a few heated battles with the University of Tulsa, and I think we split them just about even down the middle, but those were always ones we had marked on the calendar. And I've washed aside that rivalry now, and as a local, I support them, but I'll always have my Mustangs back first.
I understand. Michael Nelson, goalkeeper, FC Tulsa. And again, 3 straight home matches. Get out there and support FC Tulsa. Cheer them on to the playoffs here. Thanks for joining us here, buddy.
Thank you so much.
I've got something for you to join us since you're a professional. You can accept one of these from Bricktown Brewery. Special gift card to come back and enjoy a craft brew or a little food with them sometime.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks again, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Keep with us on Oklahoma Sportscene. We're going to come back to talk Oilers football, their final game of the season coming up this weekend.
There are 3 things you need to know about Bricktown Brewery. We never stop obsessing over the quality of our fresh, made-from-scratch food. From pizza and burgers to salad and seafood, there's something for everyone. Our beer selection is second to none. Between handcrafted Bricktown beers and local craft favorites, you're sure to find one you'll love. We can't wait to serve you. Great food, local beer, and truly friendly service. Bricktown Brewery, we love what we do, and it shows.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. Don't miss the excitement at the BOK Center on Saturday, July 15th at 7:05 as the Oilers take on the Quad City Steamwheelers. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. And with season tickets starting at just $9 per month, there's no excuse not to come out and support your team. Get your tickets now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
The Tulsa Oilers Indoor Professional Football League team wraps up its inaugural season here in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Saturday night. The BOK Center with a kickoff at 7:05 against Quad City. Guy will be calling the play-by-play. Their media man Luke Hamilton is joining us here. And Luke, it's the final weekend and a big one for the Oilers.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's the last chance here on the season to get out to be a part of the inaugural season, right? I mean, your last opportunity to get out to a home game, and I mean, the buzz has been fantastic. I think everybody agrees internally within the organization. The fans have been maybe the staple of this whole organization to begin with, more really than we would have honestly expected. I mean, the fans have been fantastic. So
let's talk about what you have planned for Saturday night. There's a lot of activities going on, starting with tailgating and pre-parties and all kinds of activities.
Yeah.
Halftime show as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a show from start to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, even before start, really. I mean, we start off with the tailgate at 4 o'clock. If you want to be a part of some tailgating during the summer, you can be a part of that just right across the street from the BOK Center at the Arena Pub and Grill parking lot. It's been fantastic kind of to see what people are whipping up over there.
Pre-party specials, right? Nachos and beer?
Yeah, nachos and beer going on there as well, all the way up until kickoff, half price.
Yeah.
So you'll want to be a part of that too. I mean, a lot of benefits for season ticket holders when they get into the building. We've got a drawstring backpack we're giving away to the first 1,000 fans at this game as well to round things out. A lot of festivities going on. Little Mike and Funny Bone will be in town as well. A great Native American rap group that'll perform at halftime. They've been a part of the hockey games here in town as well, so we've got a great relationship with them.
And if it's not enough, when it doesn't just end on the 15th, I think it's great that Andy Skirdo, Taylor Hall, your entire organization here wants to do something else for the fans when the season's over.
Yeah, I mean, fan appreciation is a staple in pro sports, right? But I mean, we really take it to heart here in Tulsa on the hockey side as well as the football side within our organization as a whole. And Monday night will be a season ticket holder party, an event that'll happen at the BOK Center for our season ticket holders to be a part of. So a great opportunity to appreciate them, give them an opportunity to get some gear as well to round out the year at a big discounted rate. We'll have a jersey auction. They'll get to meet the players and coaches, and honestly, those guys will get to thank the fans more than anything. I mean, that's a great opportunity for them to be able to do that, and they always enjoy it.
So mark that down. This coming Monday, July the 17th, it'll be 6 to 8 p.m. in the BOK Center, and no charge, right? Free admission.
Yeah, no charge. Season ticket holders get in for free, of course. They're able to be a part of that. But, this Saturday will be the last opportunity to come out to a home game, so you'll want to be a part of it. It's going to be a big one. The guys are really looking to go out with a bang here to finish off the first year.
And while Tulsa Oilers football may be ending, Tulsa Oilers hockey is getting ready to start. You've got some action going on. Christmas in July?
Yeah, Christmas in July. We love it, right? I mean, everybody loves Christmas. Might as well have it halfway to Christmas. But yeah, 20% off the whole website throughout July for merchandise, for hockey. Make sure you get geared up for this year. Head coach Rob Murray's back in town, so he's been great to kind of see and to meet with. A lot of news flowing with player signings and everything else buzzing. So, I mean, it's about that time of year where we're really getting ramped up hockey-wise.
And actually, looking at the schedule, starts October the 28th, right?
Yep,
no, 21st on the road.
Yeah,
22nd, and then home
game, of course, the 28th. So that'll be fun. Cincinnati will be in town, which is a rare opponent. In fact, last year was the first time they had ever come to Tulsa in the ECHL's history and those franchises' histories. So kind of an exciting team to have in town right out of the gate.
And you got some incredible offers and opportunities for season ticket holders for Tulsa Oilers. You're talking about hockey in Tulsa starting at the end of October and going through the middle of April, really.
Yeah, always sort of the middle of April and then hopefully after, right? I mean, but you can be a part of this team for basically nothing. I mean, $17 a month is our lowest season ticket price. You get all the benefits. No money down. It gets you great benefits as well. It only goes up from there, but it's a 72-game season, 36 at home, and we are the premier AA hockey league of the National Hockey League, and we see some guys that you see on the big screen eventually someday rolling right through Tulsa.
Luke Hamilton, the voice of the Tulsa Oilers, works their media department as well. And I can tell you again how impressed I am, and I think the city of Tulsa, with the ownership of Andy Skirdo, his support, his passion. And it doesn't end just with Oilers football or Oilers hockey. It extends to the Oilers Ice Center. That's been totally redone. And then tell about the Wii Centers coming in too. Yeah,
you know, as an owner, you're always looking to find a way for your team not only to be successful on the field or on the ice, but you also want to be able to have a team that pays back the community in that way. And he's gone beyond just the playing surfaces here. He's gone to the Wee Street Ice Center, of course, the Promenade Mall, Macy's building that was eventually bought out, was purchased by our owner and is now being turned into a 2 ice sheet facility with everything else you can think of on top of that. The ice sheets are just going to be honestly one aspect of that building, but it's going to be able to give back to the community in a lot of ways, a great opportunity for entertainment and youth development of sports.
When will the Wii Center be opening, do you think?
I was shooting for October. That's hopefully the date for sure. Hopefully I'll have my new office in there by November, but we'll see. But you know, you were shooting for October. Just keep an eye out. Of course, getting close to that time, we'll have a big bang for sure to start it off. But the Wee Street Ice Center, I kid you not, it's going to be something that Tulsa has not seen.
Let's talk some football now. Getting in it, ready to end this, hard to imagine, 15-game season that began back on March the 24th is now coming to a conclusion here. And the Oilers have a lot of things mentioned to close out for the fans here. But I tell you, despite the struggles, as you expect for the first-year franchise, but I've been up there several times. Andy Skirdo was nice enough to invite me up to watch games with him. He just shakes his head. How can you figure out a different way to lose games? And we've lost 7 of the games like on one possession or less, Luke.
Yeah, it's been that close, right? I mean, it's one of those scenarios where you kind of look at the whole body of work and you can at least hang your hat on the fact that maybe 1 or 2 plays or a lucky bounce here or there and this team is all of a sudden a 9 and 5 team instead, or even like a 10-4 team if maybe a couple of things don't go their way or go their way in certain scenarios. So it's been kind of one of those odd kind of spots that I don't think this organization will probably ever see again. We're hoping at least for sure. But head coach Marvin Jones, I think, has done maybe the best job you could ask for about handling those situations. So at the end of the day, it's tough to lose by 1 possession a lot of times within the last 10 seconds of the game. But he's been able to manage the emotions in that locker room well. There's been a lot of guys that have stepped up individually as leaders in that locker room to manage that type of flow. It's got to be tough being in that locker room as an athlete and to lose some of the ways that the team has lost. But I can tell you this, they fight. They fight more than anybody I've seen, and it's been really a pleasure to cover them. Got a lot of local guys that have a lot of pride for being here. And I kid you not, any phone call I have with the league of any kind, anybody in the front office in the IFL, I can't get off the phone without them really just praising our organization for what it's been.
And
for the
praise
league.
The fans too. You said we've been honored how many weeks?
Yeah, 4 weeks out of the 7 home games so far. We've been honored as the best fan base within that week of the league's schedule. So that includes attendance and atmosphere altogether, and the fans are a big part of the atmosphere. So you want to hang your hat on anything. It's the best environment in the IFL right now.
Oilers football comes to an end. Your last opportunity Saturday night. Get there to the BOK Center. Kickoff will be at 7:05, right?
7:05.
And it's Quad City again. We owe them too, don't we?
Yeah, Quad City. We started off with our first ever home game against them. We'll finish it off against them. So.
Luke, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got something for you, too. Come back, enjoy some food at Bricktown
great.
Brewery or craft beer or something like that.
Thank you, sir.
Bring the guys with you, too. They'll enjoy this.
Yeah, no doubt. They love it. So.
Luke Allan, voice of our Tulsa Oilers football team. Get out there and support him here. We're going to come right back with Don King talking about another legend in Tulsa, Allan Trimble, honored with a national award just recently, the Jenks football coach. You'll want to hear this with Don King in his special book as well. That's straight ahead on Oklahoma Sportscene from the Bricktown Brewery on 71st in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. Don't miss the excitement at the BOK Center on Saturday, July 15th at 7:05 as the Oilers take on the Quad City Steamwheelers. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. And with season tickets starting at just $9 per month, there's no excuse not to come out and support your team. Get your tickets now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
We're back at Bricktown Brewery on 71st, just east of Woodland Hills Mall. Been hosting our shows out here, and good friend Don King, one of our always regular guests, is joining us here to salute one of our great friends, the late Allan Trimble, who just received another great national honor, didn't he, Don?
National High School Sports Hall of Fame. Chris inducted a couple of weeks ago in Seattle before the 4th of July weekend, and just what a tremendous honor for him.
And well-earned, well-deserved. Don, of course, is the biographer of Allan Trimble. Where's the book right here, of course, The Golden Years. Tell us about that book, and that was really done in concert with Allan before the set in there with the Lou Gehrig.
Right. Allan and I always wanted to do a book on his career as he wound down his career, and so the last 3 months that he was alive, pretty much every weekday afternoon, Eric Fox, who does the radio broadcast with me, a former coach who's a vice principal at Jenks High School, he and I and the girl that wrote the book put it together, and then Courtney Trimble. We sat down every afternoon and went year by year on each season, his players, his memories of each season, and even though his capacity to get around and all of that was diminishing, his brain was, his recall was still fantastic.
And what a career, of course. He set the standards for Oklahoma high school football. Coached for 22 seasons, 1996, 2017. How many state championships and how many were you part of?
13 state championships in 22 seasons. I think he made the finals 18 of those 22 seasons. I think I've done 10 of the 13 past state championships.
Don has been the voice of the Jenks Trojans, now getting ready for his 21st season. We're talking about that. It's getting closer, isn't it, Don?
It is indeed. 6 weeks, about a little over a month away now. So looking forward to it. Of course, the teams are involved in the team camps, and then they'll start practice the 1st of August.
11:70 The Blitz. That's where you'll hear Don calling Jenks coaching football this year. Let's talk about that again. The record of Coach Trimble: 252 wins, 43 losses. He compiled a 39 game win streak, had 25 straight playoff wins from 96 to 2001. Got Jenks to 6 state championships in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine those will ever be challenged, Don.
I would not think so. Although Bixby's trying to put they're trying to give it a run. But I think of the thing that Allan is most proud of, Chris, is not his 13 state championships. It's the fact that his assistants have gone on to win 14 state championships.
Yeah, talk about them. Of course, start with Lauren Montgomery at Bixby, right?
Lauren with 7, and then you had Tad Gross at Holland Hall,
Right.
Darren Melton at Lincoln Christian at one time, Brad Caleb was at Booker T at one time. So you've got several that have gone on to win state championships. Matt Hennessy at Pahuska, David Tennyson at Beggs have been knocking on the door. Haven't quite gotten there yet, but it could go up here in the next couple of years.
And Donnie took great pride, of course, in sending some of these outstanding athletes at Jenks High School in their program on to major college football. That's one of the great players in college football from Oklahoma.
Oh, there isn't a major college in the United States that doesn't know of Jenks football.
That's right.
You know, I mean, he had players play at Notre Dame, Michigan, Nebraska, obviously OU, OSU, but all over the country, Northwestern. So there's not a school that isn't aware of what Jenks football has done over the past 25 years.
You have so many great members. I know so many favorite players. I can't imagine what was something kind of jump out at you that you followed. I always think of Rocky Calmus, of course.
Well, Rocky is the Mount Rushmore of Jenks football. No question about that. There have been so many. They've got 3 or 4 in the NFL right now. 2 guys that come to mind that just put on a camp in Jenks to kind of give back to the community recently was Dylan Stoner and Stephen Parker. Yeah. So it was great to go out to that camp and visit with them, have them on the Blitz recently, and to reconnect with a lot of the former players is a lot of fun.
I can't imagine any crueler disease than ALS.
Yeah.
And his diagnosed, 2017 was it?
Yes, I think that's right, yeah.
And but again, typical Allan Trimble. Boy, he fought it to the end, didn't he?
Got it. Well, he was diagnosed in 16. 17 was his last season. And that is the thing that is most remarkable, I think, about Allan. Most of us would have crawled into a fetal position and called it a day, called it a life. But Allan met it head on. He's like, I'm going to go full bore ahead. I'm going to teach people. I'm going to try to help people who have ALS to try to help them in my journey here in the last few months that he was alive.
Passed away in 2019 at the too young age of 56, but left such a legacy, and I was so proud of Jenks High School renaming the stadium for him and the street in front of the stadium, right?
Yes, and the field. They got a new turf, and of course it's Allan Trimble on the sidelines there on the new turf that they've got. So they have certainly honored him, and Tony Dillingham for several years, the athletic director at Jenks, for several years has tried to get him, he's nominated him, as has the state of Oklahoma and the OSSAA, into the National High School Sports Hall of Fame. But fortunately, he was voted in this past year, and Courtney and their 2 daughters were in attendance. Courtney's has a brother that lives up in the Pacific Northwest, so he was there. Coach Riggs and Nancy were there, and a few others. So it was great to have that core of Trojan family there as he was inducted. It's too bad it wasn't closer than Seattle because those rotate, I think, around different parts of the country each year.
Allan Trimble was a native of Cleveland, Oklahoma. Went to Northeastern State University, and actually you guys kind of caught up with each other, right?
We were in the oil patch together. While he was going into his senior year at NSU, I was selling oil field equipment. He was working at an oil field supply store there in Cleveland. And I said, Allan, what do you want to do when you graduate? And he said, I love math. I think I'm going to be a math teacher, and I want to be a football coach. And lo and behold, his first job was at Owasso. J.B. Haney and I were doing the games for Cox Cable, or Tulsa Cable at the time. I think it was 1988. I walked on the field, saw Allan, went over, and we had a big hug and a laugh about it. And I told him back then in the oil patch, I said, well, I'm starting to do games. Maybe I'll do one of your games sometime. And lo and behold, we were joined at the hip for so many years on the TV side and the radio side.
Now I can't thank you enough for coming.
Chris, always a pleasure. Thank you for promoting the book.
How do people get the book?
You can go to Amazon, and there are a few copies left. You can go to Amazon, and if you're not familiar with that, go call the Jenks Athletic Department, and they can hook you up.
And as usual, Jenks has an incredible football schedule, right?
Starting off August 26th, the last Friday in August. Edmond Santa Fe comes to town. Second week, we go to Owasso. Third week, we play Union, and then a week off, and then into district play.
Unbelievable. That's something for you too, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much.
Bricktown Brewery coming out and spending time with us here.
I love it. It's always a pleasure
to
come out to South Tulsa or Bricktown. Or not Bricktown, but Brickside.
Exactly.
Thank you, man. Always a pleasure.
Don King, right back with more on Oklahoma Sports Scene from the Bricktown Brewery. here on 71st in Tulsa.
Get ready for some hard-hitting indoor football action with the Tulsa Oilers. Don't miss the excitement at the BOK Center on Saturday, July 15th at 7:05 as the Oilers take on the Quad City Steamwheelers. Whether you're a diehard football fan or just looking for a thrilling night out, the Tulsa Oilers have got you covered. And with season tickets starting at just $9 per month, there's no excuse not to come out and support your team. Get your tickets now at TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of Tulsa Oilers indoor football.
There are 3 things you need to know about Bricktown Brewery. We never stop obsessing over the quality of our fresh, made-from-scratch food. From pizza and burgers to salad and seafood, there's something for everyone. Our beer selection is second to none. Between handcrafted Bricktown beers and local craft favorites, you're sure to find one you'll love. We can't wait to serve you. Great food, local beer, and truly friendly service. Bricktown Brewery, we love what we do, and it shows.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
The Tulsa World held its annual All-World Awards Banquet on June the 29th. Cox Business Convention Center in downtown Tulsa, honoring prep athletes in 21 sports, and they had some very special awards. One of those went to this guy. The Lifetime Achievement Award went to Holland Hall's own Charlie Brown. At the young age of 86, retiring, hard to believe that, after 58 years as the football coach and athletic director of the Dutch. Joining us now, Coach Brown, congratulations on the honor, Lifetime Achievement. Well done, Coach. A lot of great memories there at Holland Hall. My gosh, you came to the campus. When did you come to the campus? What was it like when you arrived?
Well, first time I saw it, I was with a fellow named Gerald Bullard and Jim Hughley, and it was a farm, and they were trying to get me to come to Holland Hall from Cassidy School in Oklahoma City, and they told me that they were going to build a new campus. And so we went out to look at the site, and at that time it literally was a farm. There were 3 horses and an old lean-to shed out there.
Well, he turned into quite a football complex too. Head football coach, 1966 to 99. Record almost 200 victories in his career. His teams won 7 of the Southwest Preparatory Conference titles during the past 21 years and 18 winning seasons. Coach, quite a run there.
Well, I had great players, and that's what makes a coach.
In fact, he went on to send 22 of his players to Division I college football schools. I know they're all your favorites, of course, but any really stand out to you, some of the players you had through the years, Charlie?
Well, there were a group of them that went out to the University of Tulsa and played. And Mark Matheson, and Jason Percy, and Damon Savage, and Mr. Utter's son, Jeff.
Right, sure.
And so they were just, Chase Williams went to OU, and so there's some really outstanding players.
Charlie was also the athletic director at Holland Hall School from 1972 through 2006. The last 17 years, he's also been the director of stewardship and athletic director emeritus. Now, what's all that mean?
That means I know all the alums, and so I try to help the school raise money, and because that's the way it works.
And I guess he's done a pretty good job. He's raised $1.4 million to help the athletic facilities and also to help kids. We understand the private school, preparatory school, outstanding school, one of the best in the entire nation. But it's expensive, and a lot of kids can't afford that. This gives them an opportunity, right?
Yes. A couple of young ladies, Beth Goddard and Margie Diaz, came to me and said they wanted to start the Charlie Brown Endowment for Financial Aid, and that was a little over 3 years ago. And I told them I wanted to help them, but for all those years that I was director of stewardship, we raise money for all kinds of things. Get a turf field and a new dining center for middle school and athletic facilities that we have now.
It's a beautiful campus. They've done an incredible job. Boy, that new facility, give me a tour of it. Teddy Owens took me through the workout center there.
The Tandy Center.
Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, again, he was athletic director from 72 to 2006. Since 1966, this Dutch football program, I find this amazing, Coach, has had only 2 coaches. One of them sitting right here with me. The other one is getting ready for the football season with the Hall Dutch this season. That was, of course, your former quarterback, right? Tad Gross.
Yes, he was the starter for 3 years back in the mid-'80s, and I had the good fortune when I decided to retire. He was the offensive coordinator at Jenks, and I took him to lunch along with one of his buddies, Bobby Lorton, and the headmaster had already asked me, or already given me permission to ask Tag if he'd like to have the job. So I asked him, and he said yes, and so he's been doing it ever since then. And I try to support him, and I told him when he took over the program that I wouldn't even talk football with him. I'd just let him. It was his program, and I tried not to get in his way.
He's done a really good job, Coach Gross has as well with the Holland Hall Dutch. Another thing, too, I don't know if people realize, you don't have to be an athlete to be impacted by Charlie Brown. How many years did you teach chemistry on the campus?
I taught chemistry for 42 years.
It's a real love of yours, too, right? Chemistry is a real love of yours, too, right?
Yeah, I found out when I was a freshman at Central State College trying to play football, and some older fellas needed a course to graduate, and they actually convinced me to take this course, thinking that I'd share all the labs and all the notes, and the teacher pulled me aside one day and said, you know, you ought to major in chemistry. And up until then, I hadn't thought about it. I just knew I wanted to be a high school football coach, but I love it.
And one of the best, I'll tell you. I want to ask you about this too. Your book, a couple years old, The Lucky One. Tell us about this book, Charlie.
Well, I started writing short stories that were unique to our program. The very first one I wrote had to do with a football camp. I'd gone to a coach's clinic and listened to Bear Bryant talk about his camp back in 1957. Well, when I took over as head coach, I decided I wanted to have a camp and get all my players out of Tulsa, and we went over to a Camp Paddle Trails on the Illinois River.
Wow.
They had finished their summer season, and so they had cabins and they had cooks, and a great swimming hole there on the Illinois River. So we did that for 10 years. We went to this camp, and I wouldn't let them take anything but a duffel bag. They couldn't have a radio or anything that they could lose, a watch or anything. It was a bare bones camp.
Charlie Brown, the lucky one, of course, just honored his Lifetime Achievement Award with Tulsa World's All World, and we've got an Achievement Award for you too. Our friends at Bricktown Brewery have a gift certificate for you, Charlie, to come back and enjoy some of their fine food here.
Well, be happy to.
Coach, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
A real legend, Charlie Brown. We're going to come back and hear from 2 athletic directors, Joe Castiglione at OU, Rick Dixon at TU, who will never come close to getting as number of years as this guy has. They'll be back to talk about name, image, likeness. We return Oklahoma Sports Scene at the Bricktown Brewery, 71st in Tulsa.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Tulsa Oilers hockey at the BOK Center. The ultimate experience of hockey and entertainment. Save big on season tickets today. Full season tickets starting as low as $17 per month for all 36 home games. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Well, for the past 2 years, it's been one of the hottest topics in all of college football. Name, image, likeness, NIL. It makes it legal for athletes to receive money for allowing their name, image, and likeness to be sold. Now, in recent interviews with two of our state's and nation's most prominent athletic directors, we asked University of Oklahoma AD Joe Castiglione and University of Tulsa Athletic Director Rick Dixon to give us their thoughts on NIL. Now, Dixon's been in college athletics for 29 years. I asked him if the NIL paying athletes has been the most challenging.
Chris, it has, and it's pretty dramatic. It's a result, of course, litigation. Most people are familiar with the Alston case, which really did two things. Was cleared the path to allow or no longer prohibit young people from profiting off their name, image, likeness. And I think the intent was good. We were trying to mirror the Olympic model, which was to allow student athletes to seek endorsements and support. Somehow, because we didn't put good, really good guidelines in with it, we just said, okay, you can do it, but we didn't drill deeper and put some guardrails into how you do it. And the other thing that emerged was these collectives, which are really just efforts to secure and influence student athletes, whether that's through recruitment or whatever it may be. And that was never what it was intended to, but the fact that we've not created guardrails to prevent that has made it a little different than what it was intended. The second part, I'm actually a big advocate of. The second part was the Alston litigation also said to every university, you can no longer limit a scholarship. What you've been calling a full athletic scholarship really never has been. There's always been a gap between that and the full cost of attendance. They ended up settling on a figure of $6,000 per student athlete. Varies across the country. But this now allows student athletes to have probably the full level support that a full scholarship should have always been providing. And I would tell you, I couldn't be more pleased than that's where people at Tulsa have really supported our young people and stepped up and helped make that Alston Fund for academic enhancement, more. I mean, that's something we're able to reward the TU student athletes. The great thing about it too is it has to be academic based. Every student athlete has goals and a plan that they're given by their advisors. If they reach those goals, then they qualify for that $6,000. So it incentivizes the right thing. So I'm a big proponent of that, and we're seeing some good success at that at TU.
And now to Joe Castiglione in his 25th year as the athletic director at the University of Oklahoma. Here's his perspective on NIL, name, image, likeness in college athletics.
I've still run out of words to try to describe the disruption in our collective world. And we're going to talk about collectives. This new word collective has multiple meanings now, but I'm not just talking about how it impacts the University of Oklahoma, but all of college athletics. It was a lot to handle when it all hit at one time. There was a lot of discussion leading up to it. We had seen states talk about it and enact laws. So we had, a growing patchwork of state laws. There was a case that the NCAA took all the way to the Supreme Court, not about NIL, about something completely different, but certainly impacted the NCAA's ability to provide some criteria, some guardrails, some structure that had been discussed. And so when it hit in like a tidal wave. And without the structure, it has evolved into a lot of things it was never intended. And sometimes that really clouds what good is happening because of the rule change. We all believe that the original intent of the name, image, and likeness legislation was very, very positive for student athletes, which means it would be very, very positive for college athletics. The original intent, the organic way name, image, and likeness was intended to work was great and is great. And that gets lost sometimes because of how the other components have evolved without the structure. And we see many athletes just this weekend, and we're promoting it ourselves because we really think that's important to do, how our athletes are engaging with businesses and organizations and community to support their efforts to meet people. They can make some money off of being there, endorsement. All of that is great. And we've been very active and one of the strongest in the country at trying to put those opportunities together. But there's a lot of things happening in the space that's not structured. And that's what has been very, very difficult for people. So all we can do, Chris, is manage it as best we can. You can complain, but it doesn't do any good. So why waste your time? We're in a position to have to help be successful during a period where it lacks structure. It lacks some type of guardrail, boundaries of some sort. And I know as soon as you start talking boundaries, it starts implying, limiting. And we have to think some level of structure, Chris, because operationally it's not working. And there are deleterious effects that are beginning to happen, across the country. And what we're trying to do is make sure that those negative impacts don't get worse. And we want it to be helpful and healthy for the athletes. We're not fighting, the idea behind name, image, and likeness. We're just trying to make it manageable and sustainable. And I think we can. And the best thought leaders need to be in a place to continue to step forward and figure this out. If it was easy to figure out, Chris, it would have already been done. Some of the cause and effects we all predicted would happen. Not a lot of surprise there, but we want this to be healthy for the enterprise going forward, in college athletics to thrive in a new world. So you have to think totally different than maybe we've ever thought before, and be fortunate to be part of a university that likes that. Our president is very proactive. Our board is proactive. We're working with other thought leaders in the world to come up with ways that we can put our athletes in the best position. So very excited about what the future holds for them, which means if they're successful, then we'll be successful.
I've got my thoughts on name, image, likeness. It's coming in our Equity Bank Lincoln 2 cents worth right after this break.
This episode is sponsored by Equity Bank. Athletes work hard day in and day out to improve their game. They put in time and effort to stay in shape and bring their A game for the big day. Our tellers do the same thing with banking. We work hard to serve our communities and keep your money safe. Equity Bank. We never forget it's your money.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Tulsa Oilers hockey at the BOK Center. The ultimate experience of hockey and entertainment. Save big on season tickets today. Full season tickets starting as low as $17 per month for all 36 home games. Get your season tickets at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. Experience hard-hitting, glove-dropping, pulse-pounding, glass-rattling kind of thrill. Season tickets available now at TulsaOilers.com. That's TulsaOilers.com. This is your town, your team, your Tulsa Oilers hockey.
There are 3 things you need to know about Bricktown Brewery. We never stop obsessing over the quality of our fresh, made-from-scratch food. From pizza and burgers to salad and seafood, there's something for everyone. Our beer selection is second to none. Between handcrafted Bricktown beers and local craft favorites, you're sure to find one you'll love. We can't wait to serve you. Great food, local beer, and truly friendly service. Bricktown Brewery, we love what we do, and it shows.
And now Equity Bank presents Lincoln's 2 cents worth. Here are my thoughts on NIL, name, image, likeness. You just heard from Joe Castiglione and Rick Dixon, our athletic directors. And of course, we just marked the 2nd anniversary, July 1st, when the NCAA dropped the outdated rules preventing athletes from profiting off their name, image, and likeness. Its impact, well, according to Open Doors, a company that connects student athletes with business opportunities, they estimate the NIL earnings will top, listen to this, $100 million by the end of this year for athletes. There are currently 25 college and high school athletes that are benefiting and will have over $1 million in earnings from NIL. Oklahoma, by the way, is one of several states, including our neighbors in Texas and Arkansas, that recently passed laws that conflict with the NCAA rules prohibiting interactions with boosters and collectives that have been put together to pool resources for NIL opportunities. An example, the University of Texas has offered top offensive linemen $50,000 to sign with UT. A few years ago, this was simply called cheating. Now it's NIL. The NCAA is countering with a strongly worded letter sent to Division I schools that reads in part, if a state law permits certain institutional action and NCAA legislation prohibits that same, institutions must follow NCAA legislation. Right. Many member schools and conferences that cannot get the big money, NIL packages together, have gone to start lobbying Congress to see if they can pass some federal legislation to create national rules to control the flood of NIL money. Now, is that ever a good idea, getting the federal government involved in something? In May, the Oklahoma State Senate legislation passed Bill 840 that amended the state's NIL laws to directly prohibit the NCAA from interfering with in-state schools. A similar bill in Texas just went into effect on July 1st. Arkansas passed its anti-NCAA control bill back in April. The NCAA is trying to put the genie, known as NIL, name, image, likeness, back in the bottle. Yeah, good luck with that. That's my Lincoln's 2 cents worth. Hey, next week on Oklahoma Sportscene, you won't want to miss it. Bricktown Brewery Restaurant will be at the site at Brookside, down there in Peoria. College football preseason 2023 magazines are out. Hit the stands. One of the best is Phil Steele's. We'll talk to Phil Steele, have an audio Zoom with him, get his inside of his huge magazine, one of the best in the business. That's Phil Steele, his 20th edition of his college football preview. And we'll get a report on this week's Big 12 Media Days, wrap up the Tulsa Oilers' first indoor football season with team owner and Andy Skirtho. So until next week, we remind you as always, be a good sport.